continuing with the mitzvah of not working on Shabbos. With regards to resting on Shabbos, so many have the question that all the laws of Shabbos seem very restrictive. I can't do this and I can't do that. It doesn't allow me to really rest and enjoy the weekend the way I want to enjoy it. The truth is that about whether or not something is restrictive very much depends on the perspective of the person. Just like if I'm trying to travel somewhere and I'm following my GPS, if my GPS tells me to go left and I say, no, I don't want to go left, I want to go right, the whole purpose of the GPS is to get me to the destination, and it's not restricting me, it's helping me get there. For that, I can't turn the wrong way. Or the same way as parents, we often have to restrict our children from doing certain things, but that's not really a restriction. On the contrary, that's to help them grow up in the best possible way. We want the best thing for them, and hopefully when they grow up to be adults, they'll appreciate and be thankful the way we guided them. And the same thing is also with the restrictions on Shabbos, that they're not to limit us, but on the contrary, that to help us grow. God in His infinite wisdom knows and wants what's best for us, and this is a way for us to get there, for us to get to this destination. Besides for the 39 melachot we spoke about yesterday, there are also several rabbinic prohibitions on Shabbos. One of the big ones are the prohibition of muktzah, literally means to set aside. There are many things on Shabbos which the rabbis prohibited us from touching, from moving around and carrying, and part of the reason for this is it's in order that it should be clear and noticeable the difference between weekday and Shabbos. Even if someone's at home all week long, then nevertheless on Shabbos he will still feel the sanctity of the day, because there are certain things which he doesn't move around and carry. One of the melachot which we spoke about yesterday was mentioned in the list is the melacha of carrying. That according to the Torah, we're not allowed to carry from a public domain to a private domain, or vice versa, and also we're not supposed to carry in a public domain itself. The only way one is allowed to carry in a public domain is if there is an Eruv. What an Eruv basically does is it makes a public domain into a private domain. And just like in our house we're allowed to carry, or in our backyard we're allowed to carry, so also in a public domain which has an Eruv, so now the area is being walled off, so now you're also allowed to carry there as well. There are many that have a problem with this, that it seems like the rabbis are making a loophole. The Torah doesn't want us to carry, so you with your little strings and poles, so now you found a loophole to go against the Torah and carry. It doesn't seem right. It seems like you're missing the spirit of the law. So I think a very good way to explain this is similar from using times which we're living in. We all know that due to Corona, so we're supposed to social distance, and especially when it comes to those at risk, for example, seniors, and we have to be extra careful. So someone's going to say, I'm not going to go visit my parents now because of the regulations that we can't go, we're not allowed to go, we have to social distance, so I'm not going to go visit them. I know there's others that are still using Zoom to speak to their parents, or using WhatsApp video call so that they could see their parents, but I feel this is missing the point. It's missing the spirit of the law. We say no, don't go visit your parents. I'm not going to do Zoom either. I'm not going to do WhatsApp. I'm going to start trying to find loopholes around the law. So obviously it's silly to talk like that. That's missing the point. The reason why these regulations are there are for a certain purpose, and that is physical distancing. If there's going to be physical distance, then the contrary, you should try and interact with one's parents and the seniors and make them happy, etc. The same thing is also with regards to the regulations, the restrictions of Shabbos, that they're here for a certain purpose. And so long as we fit with the guidelines the way they are in the Torah, and we don't transgress those guidelines, then we're good. Then we are considered resting on Shabbos. As we spoke yesterday, the idea of resting on Shabbos doesn't mean that we're not allowed to schwitz, we're not allowed to sweat and work hard. It could be we'll sweat hard, but won't transgress any prohibitions of Shabbos. The Torah has a different definition of Shabbos, and as long as we fit in those guidelines, we're good. And the Eruv, as far as the Torah is concerned, is 100% kosher and doesn't transgress the prohibition of carrying on Shabbos. Just to conclude, the Alter Rebbe mentions that lo nitnu Shabbatot liYisrael, the Shabbos were not given for the Jewish people, only la'asok b'hem b'Torah, to engage in Torah study and not to take pleasure in eating and drinking and sleeping, although that is a mitzvah, but rather the day of Shabbos is supposed to be devoted L'Hashem Elokecha, to Hashem our God.